I'll give you a grand view of the aerial shot. I've got Boot Hill there, that's the cemetery. I've got some new things coming, so I've got to have a rearrange. I'm going to be playing with this all week, so I might get lots of cowboy videos, whether you like them or not. Because the new me, not pandering to anyone's desires but my own, and I want to play cowboys. So I've got at the moment, that's the stagecoach station. I found somewhere or other all these fantastic little signs, and I cut them out and I stuck them on things like here, look, on the jailhouse. Is in the jailhouse now. Found all those wanted posters. For years I resisted painting these, and I kept them as the original proper Swap-its. If you remember Swap-its, they were quite brightly coloured. But as I've become more interested in playing it as a game, I've painted them, or a friend of mine's painted a lot of them for me, thanks to the old Parkinson's. This is the back of the Silver Dollar Saloon. That's a nice building, the red one there. And this chappie I've got stored. This is how things change as you get older, look. That model in there, that's not a Timpo cowboy, that's a man with a pipe. That's from an Italian company. But they do really, really good cowboys. Look at this. This is that's Wild Bill Hickok. And somewhere or other in the car, all the gunfighters. Yeah. Bet you recognise this little scenario. Hang on high. So if you keep up with the channel and you were here before and you watched the last video, you'll see that there's no AI now, no editing, no nothing. I'm not faffing, I'm not messing with anything. So to be honest here, what is what it is. It is what it is. My Parkinson's changes to the brain, which slow up your speech processes because you can think of the word but you can't say it. They're stopping in. They would have got edited out before. Not anymore. You're getting this. If I sniff because of the rhinitis, I sniff. If I have to keep doing that because you make too much drool, tough luck. I've got Parkinson's. This is me. No editing, nothing. No changing, no photoshopping. No, so you're going to get big pauses, you're going to get mispronunciation, you're going to get all sorts of mess, right? This is what you paid up for. I played with Timpo cowboys a lot, and this is, if we're sort of doing a journey, in the last video I did proper, I looked at sort of early toys I played with, and Timpo cowboys were the first sort of venture into a fantasy world, because you made your villages, you had your buildings, you had your stagecoaches, your chuck wagons, you had various characters, and they would come into and out of town, and there'd be interactions. Quite often we'd watch something on a Sunday afternoon like Bonanza or the High Chaparral, and then as soon as it finished, all the cowboys would come out and we'd play the scene that we just watched. I mean, I remember Rawhide and the Virginian, the early doors stuff. And I'm a big fan of westerns. I've always been a big fan of Clint Eastwood ever since those Rawhide days, and he just gets better and better. I mean, my favourite westerns have a comic element, things like the Outlaw Josie Wales. But equally, I love Pale Rider, so I'd like westerns, and even the sort of earlier ones, John Wayne. And my dad was a big fan of Randolph Scott. My favourite film in our house growing up was High Noon. That was a popular old film. My dad bought the vinyl record of the theme tune. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. And it was big stuff. So we'd play cowboys. Buildings were expensive, as I've said, but you got them occasionally and eventually, and they built up. Now I am adding new buildings to my town. I've got a bank, but I've managed to find a really cheap bank for sale, and I think it's slightly better than the bank I've got. So in that case, I think the new building will be the official bank. And what I'm going to do with the bank, because it says bank on the window, is I'm going to bash the window out or cover it up with wooden slat shutters so that it doesn't say that anymore. And I've always thought that in a town where stagecoaches are coming in, there should be some sort of livery stable. And I haven't managed to find one that was cheap enough to buy. So I've bought, because it was cheap enough, from the Britain's Farm set, their pony club stables. So it's going to look a bit odd, but it doesn't matter, because in my mind I'll just turn it all around and make it make sense. And this building, I got this. I found it in a bag in a junk shop, and it was 50p for this bag of random bits. And it was all broke and cracked and bent. Goodness knows what they'd done to it. And I mended it, and it's still all broke and bent and cracked, and I patched it up with balsa wood. And I use it as a sort of a derelict shack or an outlaw's hideout in the desert. But I've ordered a posh version of it. It's the ranch house. And I'm going to make it into the village church, because that's something I don't have. And I think I want some sort of communal meeting place, and it's a big building. So I'm going to do that. And I've also ordered, because of watching sort of recent television cowboy things, a Britain's pig sty and a couple of pigs, because I think that adds a little bit of colour, and I'll have that behind the Silver Dollar Saloon. So yeah, no rules, no nothing today. I'm just showing you what I've got, and I'm telling you what I've got. I am going to play this for quite a few days now, because I love it, and I've not played it for some time. So it's going to be out, and I've got lots of other chaps who will be turning up. So over here I've all got numbers, so if they come on as a random encounter now, I throw a D10. So if I threw a 10, I'd get those ranch hands. Those ranch hands, and I've got the Native Americans there. I've got some nice trappers. I've got some more gunfighters there. I've got some cavalrymen. I've got some bank robbers. I've got some Mexicans. He's a farmer. He's one of those Italian personality figure things. Just another quick scan over there. I call it Four Feather Falls because of a 1960s, well, it was made in the 50s, I think, 1960s, 50s cartoon puppet show thing I used to watch called Four Feather Falls with Tex Tucker. Ta-da, Chuck!